What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. I wanted to let you guys know this lawsuit very eye-opening, and I have to ask the question that I asked in the title of the video: did Christian Keys try to warn us? Because believe it or not, Christian Keys is mentioned in this lawsuit. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. But first, let's play the intro and allow more people to come in the room because we got a lot to discuss. What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 with another episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But how y'all doing? How you feeling? How you living? What's up, everybody? What's up, Thunder Buddy? How you doing? What's up, Larry Conscious? What's up, Yvette? What's up, Marlon? Hey, Marlon, I ain't seen you in a minute. What's up, Sharice? Shawnee, what's up, Shawnee? What's up, Tina Marie? I'm talking square biz to you, baby. That's all. I always think that whenever I see Tina Marie, what's up, Foreign Bay? What's up, son? How y'all doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? We're gonna talk about some square biz right now. What's up, Pure T, Purely Plush, Melissa, the bad Melissa? What's up? What's up, Deline or Miss Dee? What's up? All right, you guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I see you, Adrian. Let's get into it with the lawsuit. So, for those of you who don't know, Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million. Yes, $260 million. Now, where do these people be coming up with these numbers? Like when they get ready to sue somebody, like they be like, "Huh, how much?" I know you throw out a big number, but $260 million. Now, from the little bit that I heard of the lawsuit, I don't think it was worth it. You see, now I'm gonna get now y'all gonna say I'm victim shaming. But I don't believe that it was worth 260 million. And especially from somebody that we don't know and who what? Huh? And let's just talk about this weekend. This weekend, yeah, 1/4 billion exactly. Let's talk about this weekend. You know, there's a photo of Tyler Perry with Brian Tatanka. I think that's how you say his last name. But Brian, who was with Mariah Carey, that's who Tyler Perry was seen with. They're out on some yacht or whatever. Listen, at this point, when it comes to Tyler Perry and his sexuality, at this point, I don't care. We've already made our decision about what Tyler Perry likes, and that's it. Now, when it comes to, sexual assault and harassment, we don't condone that. But whatever Tyler Perry chooses to do with consenting adults, hey, it is what it is. And who wouldn't? Damn, I hate to say it like this, but if Tyler Perry offered you a job or some money, most of us would take it. Most of us would take it. I hate to put it that way, but most of us would. They say Tyler Perry pays very well his actors. He pay them fair. If you notice, you always see the same actors in Tyler Perry's films, movies, and everything. He keeps his people working. So it's a good look to be attached to Tyler Perry because he will always keep you working. Now, if he's forcing himself upon you and trying to harass and do all that, I am not condoning that at all. But what I'm saying is that this is one of the most powerful men. And this is a lesson for Tyler Perry. Get you somebody that want to be with you. If he's with that Brian guy, I am happy for him. If he's not, it is what it is. But get you somebody that wants to be with you. Like, stop going after people who don't. Now, I will say this. The actor, Derek Dixon, he is Caucasian. And we're not saying that because he's Caucasian, it disqualifies him. But, they have a tendency to want to take advantage of powerful black people. But that's beyond me. All right, let's Let's go ahead and get into this lawsuit, y'all. Here we go. He gonna have you listen. Tyler Perry gonna keep me working. Shit. I'll do it for $50. That's how desperate I am right now. Don't judge me, Pure T. All right. All right. So this is the lawsuit right here. Derek Dixon, he's suing. He's the plaintiff. Tyler Perry Productions, because he did work on that show, The Oval. Now, for me, I have not watched The Oval. Put a 1 in the chat if you watched The Oval. Put a 1. Have any of y'all watched that show? I have not watched it at all, to be fair. So I don't know what role he played, but if you look at his IMDb, they said he was on 85 episodes of The Oval. So, he was in, his character name was Dale in The Oval. He also starred in that show Ruthless. Now that show Ruthless, I heard it got like a lot of sex in it, and it's just crazy. I've seen a few viral clips on TikTok of it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even go over. So the complaint is the quid pro quo, sexual harassment, work environment harassment, sexual harassment, workplace gender violence, violation of the Bain Act, sexual battery, sexual assault, negligent retention, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and retaliation. So these are all the things he's being sued for. So the summary: plaintiff Derek Dixon files his complaint against defendant Tyler Perry, a.k.a. Emmett Perry Jr. Oh, I forgot his real name is Emmett, huh? TPS Production, Tyler Perry Production Studio, and Action LLC, AA, together defendants alleging as follows. The following complaint is pled on information and belief. This case arises from a sustained pattern of workplace sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation perpetuated by Tyler Perry, a powerful media mogul, against plaintiff Derek Dixon, a professional actor and screenwriter. Mr. Perry is an American. Okay, it's kind of going over his history and stuff like that. Tyler Perry rose against all odds. I know some of you guys mostly heard all this, so I kind of want to skip through all this. Okay, they also compared him to Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes. Yeah, they comparing him to all the freaks. That's what they're saying Tyler Perry is. And I want to say this to be fair. These are allegations. I don't know if they're true or not. I can only go based off of things that we heard and things that we've seen. I do not know it to be true, but to be fair, let's keep an open mind. That's what I can tell you guys. And shout out to everybody coming in the room. All right. Line 10. So this was not Mr. Perry's first instance of sexual exploitation. He has demonstrated a troubling pattern of exploiting vulnerable male actors and employees, leveraging his industry power to create a cycle of hope and dependency. First, he offers aspiring actors the prospect of career-defining opportunities, rules that promise visibility and advancement. Then, once they are in his professional orbit, he uses the weight of his influence to ensure them positioning their success as contingent on meeting his demands, and a quid pro quo sexual compromise. This pattern of behavior reveals a calculated use of professional power of sexual leverage. Using his influence, Mr. Perry provided vulnerable men with acting position, roles, show, contracts, cars, and money. Once object of his desire was hooked, Tyler Perry would then put them in fear of losing it, all unless they engaged in Mr. Perry's perverted desire for sexual gratification. Mr. Perry would easily kill off a character in a show of an actor who failed to indulge Perry's sexual fantasies. So I read line 10 and line 11, and I want to let you guys know that seems like that was directly referencing everything that Christian Keys was saying. Again, Christian Keys never said a name, but he went quiet. He opened up a new skincare line called Black Don't Crack, and he hasn't talked about it. He deleted all his videos and everything about this situation. So funny that they're doing all this, and they're literally referencing Christian Keys without saying his name, but his name does get mentioned later on. All right, back to it. Line 12. In one such exchange, Perry stated that he could fix things because the actors of a show he was filming should all be scared because they were all shot at and we don't know who lives, meaning that Tyler Perry was going to use this as a tool to gain compliance with his desires. And so this text message, it says, but I swear to you, I know how to fix this shit. I love killing a motherfucker. Damn, a motherfucker in a show that no one expects. And then he said, well, the guy, Dixon, he replies, you could be sipping Mai Tais counting coconuts right now. I feel like some messages are missing. So Tyler Perry is the one in the white or the gray. It says, but I swear to you, I know how to fix this shit. I love killing a motherfucker in a show that no one expects. Then Dixon's reply is, you could be sipping Mai Tais counting coconuts right now. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like something's missing from that text message. Put a 1. Is Miss Barbara in here? I see Miss Barbara. Did y'all put some 1? Okay, thank you. Yeah, put some 1s in the chat because some seems that seems like an off response, you know. Okay, continue. Line 13. Derek Dixon was Mr. Perry's sexual desire ever since they became acquainted. Dixon was working as part of an event staff for a party hosted by Mr. Perry when Perry noticed him. Perry immediately offered Dixon the chance to audition for a part in one of his TV productions. So was he an actor? See, and we always talk about how Tyler Perry always has the good-looking men in his TV shows and movies. Like, he hires a certain type, the muscular, type. He likes what he likes. We know that. And so you hired this guy. Did you even ask if he was an actor? Like, how do you know if he was an actor? He was working some event, It makes you question. Okay, so it says, line 14. Dixon agreed and was on set with Perry behind the camera for weeks in close quarters. During the time they were filming, Perry would send flirtatious text messages to Dixon. For example, in one message, Perry stated that he was jealous when he saw Dixon going on a walk with another man named Brad. Now, who Brad? Did a Brad work on one of his shows? Okay, continue. This is the text message that said, why did the photo make me jealous? You two together. Ha ha ha, I don't know. It's just Brad. Laugh out loud. Then Tyler Perry says, laugh out loud. And then Dixon replies, he just wanted to go for a quick walk to get his steps in. And now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself. Laugh out loud. And then Tyler Perry said, thick Derek, get that Chipotle. What? What did Tyler Perry say? Hold on. What Tyler Perry said? He said, okay, so Derek said he just wanted to go for a quick walk to get his steps in, and now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself. Laugh out loud. Then Tyler Perry allegedly says, thick Derek, get that Chipotle. Oh no. Oh no, Tanika, what is wrong with these people? Oh my God. You heard what Medea said? What's up, beautiful? Oh my God. Tyler, he like that booty meat. Oh my God. Not thick Derek. Thick Derek. Wow. But you know what? I'm not going to lie about something. If my text messages ever, somebody has leaked my text messages, but it wasn't anything like this. But if your text messages get leaked without any context, Like, you could just make any assumptions from it. That's the sad part. This is me being serious. Like, literally, if you just release text messages from somebody and they don't have the context, they can draw any conclusion. And that's kind of like what we're doing right now, you know, just to be honest. All right, let's continue, Thick Derek. And please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, so it says, in another text message, Perry stated to Dixon, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have y'all found that yet in therapy? You can blank have freedom from religion, guilt, and still believe in Christ." Okay. Oh, let me just read the actual screenshot right here. It says, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex?" This is the text message. "Have y'all found that yet in therapy? Yes, it's exact same kind of a car, Geo Metro. Giving up my religious guilt, becoming a Buddhist. That's so cool. Where you came from." See, don't how they go from talking about the car and then I want to see Tyler Perry's text messages. Yeah, they do. Right, Melissa. They do use religion. The text messages just seem so off because how do you what? Huh? What's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have y'all found that yet in therapy? But mind you, he just skipped over that. He just totally skipped over what Tyler Perry said and then talked about the religion. Yeah, something's off about that. And then Tyler Perry responds that, "Unfortunately, Derek, I have friends who are in their 50s and 60s who are still dealing with that, but it's so sad. You can be have that's where you can be have freedom. You can have freedom from religious guilt and still believe in Christ." Okay. Oh, I think it kind of addressed it right here. Line 16, it said, "Plaintiff carefully navigated a friendly demeanor to prevent the loss of income and opportunity on the one hand, and on the other, a firm boundary against Perry's advances. Often when Mr. Perry stated drinking, he would demand more attention from plaintiff and get more aggressive with his flirting." Okay. I see what they're saying here. They're basically saying, well, he navigated away from the conversation, so they never really had talked about it again, or he didn't address that part. But these text messages still feel choppy. Put a 1 in the chat if these text messages seem like they're missing context. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2, you think that Tyler Perry's just some big old freak, and no, this is how he texts. Is Juice here? What's up, Juice? What's up, Miss Barbara? I see Miss Barbara up in the building. I see you. All right, continue. So 17, on one occasion when Mr. Perry was drinking, he started to become extremely annoyed when Mr. Dixon avoided him. Mr. Perry stated that of the 600 people in his phone book, he only wanted to talk to Mr. Dixon. Here's another text message. "Treat myself right. What are you doing? What are you doing? Derek!" I don't know why he said Derek like that. "Just talking to my sister." And then it says, "I roll. Fine. Good night. I'll go through the 600 people in my phone book and be annoyed that I don't want to talk to any of them." Wow. Tyler Perry was all like, I guess I'll go through my other 600 people in my phone, and since your ass don't want to talk to me. And then Derek in the blue, he says, "Trying to get off so I can go to sleep. Laugh out loud. I understand. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Apparently, you're not the only one that's been drinking tonight." And then Tyler Perry said, "I just started." Then Derek responds back, "They didn't. Laugh out loud." Okay. I haven't seen anything yet that suggests like, "Ooh, I want to sop you up with a biscuit." I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for a text message that says like directly, "I want to sop you up with a biscuit." Even the one about guiltless sex, he didn't say having guiltless sex with me. So, I'm still kind of looking at this like, okay, we're still missing context. Dixon did his best to tiptoe around Mr. Perry's sexual aggression while keeping on Mr. Perry's good side. Mr. Perry made it clear to Dixon that if Dixon ignored Perry or failed to engage with his sexual innuendos, Dixon's character would die in the next season. Indeed, Dixon's character Dale was shot 4 times in the chest at the end of his first season on the Oval. And Perry always held this over Mr. Dixon's head, implying that Dale would survive if Dixon kept Perry happy. Line 19. Once Perry recognized the extent of the control he had over Mr. Dixon, he escalated this behavior. On multiple occasions, Mr. Perry sexually assaulted Mr. Dixon, including one instance where he forcibly pulled off Mr. Dixon's clothing, groped his buttocks, that's such a weird word, and attempted to force himself on Dixon. Mr. Dixon told a drunken Perry no and attempted to remove Mr. Perry's hands, but Mr. Perry held tightly onto Dixon's wrists. Mr. Dixon was only able to escape after de-escalating the situation by abruptly changing the subject. How do you change the subject if somebody has their hand on you and they're trying to... Interesting. All right. Line 20. The day after the assault, Mr. Perry called and texted Mr. Dixon relentlessly, saying, "Tried you, call me. And I really need to talk to you. Please call as soon as you can." Finally, when Mr. Dixon answered Tyler Perry's call, Mr. Perry profusely apologized for the sexual assault while blaming it on other things. Perry continued he didn't know why he would do that. Maybe he was self-sabotaging. On the very same call where he apologized for sexual assault against Dixon, Perry told Dixon, and don't worry, we're going to do your show, referring to the pilot that Perry knew Dixon had desperately wanted to produce. See, and this is where we go now. Did Tyler Perry do something to you, or are you upset that he didn't do your show or produce your show or whatnot? Because it sounds like you're basically saying Tyler Perry promised you this and then he didn't do it. Now you want to sue. You get what I'm saying? You guys understand? I'm just saying. But he keeps Tyler LaPlay around in almost all of his movies. Oh, yeah, he be in a lot of his movies. Yep. I think it's both. Yeah. Possibly could be both. So why he apologized? Yeah. And you know what the funny part is? We don't have a text message showing that he was trying to call. Like, they didn't post that. Maybe they're saving that for later. And I know the phone call, unless he did record it, they didn't list it in this lawsuit, Again, my job is to give both sides and be unbiased. Line 21. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Dixon got a call from Perry's lawyer saying that Christmas had come early and that Dixon was getting a substantial raise and the show was greenlit. Perry's attorney explicitly warned Dixon not to tell any other actor on the show about Dixon's raise because no other actors were getting a raise, only Dixon. Okay. Line 22. Perry kept telling Dixon that he was sorry and that the harassment would not happen again. However, the harassment assaults continued. Mr. Perry would also try to deflect the blame for the sexual assault by saying that Dixon didn't have a strong enough no. Wow, a strong enough no. Perry told Dixon that you have to be able to say no to propositions for sex and mean it and make it clear. Ugh. Okay, this is the text message over on the right side. Nice, Santa Monica is nice. I'm glad you're going out there. How is your no? Is it stronger? You got to have a strong no. Yes, it's strong. My mom literally thinks I'm going to sell my soul to the Illuminati. She heard Kanye say that it's real. Well, I don't think that, but I do think that you have to be able to say no and mean it and make it clear. See, again, I feel like there's context missing from this because that strong no could mean anything. All right, let me continue. And then Dixon said, he replies back, I'll only say yes if it gets me an Oscar. Just kidding, just kidding. I hear you. And then this is where Tyler Perry says, well, the only one who could have gotten that for you, though, gotten you. Oh, wait, hold on. Well, the only one who could have gotten that for you through sex is in prison. So just stick to that no, unless you really, unless you really, unless you are really into him. Sorry, I was struggling with that. He's talking about Harvey Weinstein because Harvey Weinstein was known for getting his actresses and actors Oscars and shit like that. So yeah, he was talking about Harvey Weinstein. Let me see line 24. Line 24, it said Dixon did not know how to answer without facing retaliation, cancellation of his production contact, or perhaps being killed off of the show. So instead, Dixon made a joke out of the situation, stating that only say yes and no. Okay. And then it talks about Tyler Perry's response. All right, so line 26. I'm skipping to line 26. Perry reveals through these text messages that the no he was referring to was Dixon's no to sex in exchange for promotion in the industry, classically known as quid pro quo sexual harassment. Perry sent this message to Dixon because that is exactly what Tyler Perry was doing. At some point, Dixon left Atlanta and moved to Santa Monica to create distance from Tyler Perry. However, even at long distance, Mr. Perry continued to sexually harass Dixon. So that's what they're claiming. So he moved and he's still harassing. Lucky 38, yes. As far as I understand, he is straight. He only sexually harassed women. All right, so parties, line 27. Plaintiff Derek Dixon, individual state of California. Okay, let me skip that. And then just list the companies. Okay, line 32. Plaintiff is informed and believes that thereon alleges that each of the fictitiously named defendants is legally responsible in some manner for the occurrences herein alleged and that the injuries of plaintiff as herein alleged have been proximately caused by aforementioned defendants in each of them. On information subsidiary. Okay, this is just like that legal jargon. Okay, let me skip ahead a little bit. Venue, jurisdiction, this court. Furthermore, the vast pattern of abuse, including sexual assault, harassment, inappropriate, in addition to wielding. Okay, all that. Mr. Perry also resides in California. I was all like, yeah, he does have a California residence. So, this can happen in California. Factual allegations. Here we go. Line 50. In or around September 2019, plaintiff worked for an event company called Legendary Events in Atlanta that was hired to organize defendant Perry's studio opening party, the party in quotations. Plaintiff was recruited by Tony Conway, the owner of Legendary Events, close friend of Tyler Perry. Mr. Conway decided to place Dixon directly in a role at a party that required frequent conversation with Tyler Perry. Now, this part right here, is he trying to say that Tony Conway, the guy that owns Legendary Events, is he trying to say that he set him up? Like maybe this Tony Conway guy sets people up in the industry to, or basically puts good looking men in front of Tyler Perry to then, do X, Y, and Z. Very interesting. All right, line 51. Defendant Perry picked plaintiff out of the crowd of employees present at the party and began asking plaintiff questions about his employment status and whether plaintiff was an actor. Line 52. In or around early October and on the last day of the party, defendant Perry insisted that he and plaintiff exchanged phone numbers, and Perry subsequently texted plaintiff to introduce himself. Perry began by asking Dixon about his dreams and aspirations. Dixon told Perry that he was interested in acting and writing. Perry then told Dixon to do an audition over the phone and send it to Perry. Dixon told Perry he was at a Halloween party. Perry asked to see pictures of Dixon in costume, and Dixon complied. When Perry saw the pictures, he texted Dixon, "I was going to say, your cowboy needs a sugar daddy." Oh, Lord. Tyler, come on. Tyler. Medea, no. Anyway, Perry continued with the, "You look great. You're just lacking costume parts. Sorry, don't want to offend." Dixon responded, "Not at all. It's so true. Half-ass costume." To which Perry replied, "What's true? Cowboy needs a sugar daddy," implying that Perry wanted to be Dixon's sugar daddy. Dixon quickly shut down those comments by reiterating what he said earlier, that the truth was that he was lacking costume parts. Shortly thereafter, Dixon's boss at Legendary Events called Dixon and told him that Tyler Perry was having another event in Los Angeles and specifically wanted Mr. Dixon to fly from Atlanta to Los Angeles to work on an event. Excited for the opportunity to fly to Los Angeles, Dixon was flattered and jumped on the opportunity to meet Tyler Perry again. So this is that Conway guy. He was all like, "Oh, well, you want to go to this Los Angeles event where Tyler Perry is going to be there?" I wonder, are they going to add that Tony guy in here and maybe... Y'all, my mind is already turning. I'm already thinking of some things like I think what they're trying to set up here. Tyler Perry has a type. And so are they saying that Tony Conway, who works at this Legendary event, put specific men in front of Tyler Perry that he might like or be interested in? That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. All right. And remember, this was in 2019, so this was before Christian Keys. All right. So line 56. Shortly after doing the event on November 3rd, 2019, defendant Perry sent plaintiff several text messages that he would love to find plaintiff a job and change plaintiff's life, insisting that they should make it happen. Perry sent Dixon what turned out to be an anonymous y'all know what I'm trying to say, warning. "Be careful hanging around me. I cause dreamers to dream bigger. I cause them to not only believe but do. Then let's make it happen. You're an artist. You have to be fulfilled. Nothing else will suffice." That doesn't seem like he's coming on to him. He's just saying, like, "I can make your dreams happen." He didn't say, like, "Yeah, if you get in bed with me, I can make your dreams happen." Like, and still, I'm not completely sold yet. 57. The next day, defendant Perry sent an email which contained an offer for plaintiff play the role of Dale in Perry's television series Ruthless. Perry said it was a small role that could get a lot bigger, thereby setting up the first stage in a series of escalating quid pro quo offers. And again, if you know Tyler Perry shows, they have a lot of sex and all that stuff. So yeah, especially, have y'all seen Beauty and Black on Netflix? That show was crazy. Okay, line 58. At this point, Dixon did not know that Perry was interested in men or that he was looking for a sexual relationship. Dixon assumed Tyler Perry was genuinely a caring person who discovered the talent that Dixon always felt he had. How did he know that from him working in an event? That's what I don't understand. Dixon filmed his roles in Ruthless in mid-November and went back to his job as an event staff for Legendary Events. Approximately 1 month later, Perry bought and gave Dixon a new car because he hated Dixon's Jeep. Dixon was surprised and elated. Dixon had no idea that he was being set up by Perry for extreme dependence. And we know they said Tyler Perry bought Christian Keys a car. Don't forget that. They said Tyler Perry bought Christian Keys a car. So, yeah. Ain't nobody just buying you a car just to buy a car. Let me just say that. All right, line 61. In December of 2019, Dixon was requested to be part of an event staff at another event at Perry's home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Wait, I didn't know. What's up with all these celebrities going to Wyoming? I know you can buy a lot of land in Wyoming, but why are all these celebrities going to Wyoming, you guys? Why do they all go to Wyoming? The taxes? Is that what it is? Listen, they need to subpoena the state of Wyoming. I don't know if it's just the taxes because they can go to Florida too. It's peaceful. Why the name Jacko? I have no idea why it's named that, but it's in Wyoming. Privacy. Okay, if y'all say so. Because y'all know that one freak, right? Jeffree Star. That Jeffree Star freak, he lives there. Also, Kanye had a place in Wyoming too. And that's allegedly where Jeffree Star and Kanye had sex. So don't forget that. All right, moving on. Red line 61. Okay, line 62. On New Year's Eve 2019, Tyler Perry texted Dixon, I can't tell you the last time I pumped gas or went to the supermarket or fly commercial or packed a bag or had good sex. It was before I was rich. Damn. So your baby mama, that wasn't good sex to you? Wow. Tyler Perry is disrespectful. Line 63. Dixon found these messages to be strange and why am I struggling with that? Untowardly coming from someone like Tyler Perry. But being new to the industry, Dixon played along by downplaying the sexual comments and hoping that being around Perry would allow him to showcase his talents as an actor and writer. Soon after Dixon began giving Perry more attention, Perry made his move on Dixon. In January of 2020, so this was before the pandemic, just a few months after his first acting gig, Perry invited plaintiff to his home in Douglasville County, Georgia. Plaintiff showed up to the home, hoping that he would be given a chance to befriend Perry and show him how talented an actor Dixon was. At Perry's home, Dixon was served many alcoholic drinks, which Perry also partook in. Dixon felt that Perry was genuinely interested in Dixon's talents as an actor and writer. Perry made no sexual advances at Dixon while they were drinking, and the conversation was friendly. At the end of the night, Perry told Dixon not to drive home. Perry said it was dangerous and that Dixon was too inebriated to drive home. Dixon agreed and was escorted to a separate guest room, not knowing that this was a ruse to allow Perry to assault Dixon. Dixon was tired and did not have pajamas, and so he got into bed only wearing underwear. Before he knew what was happening, Dixon felt someone else slip into the bed behind him and start rubbing Dixon's body around his inner thigh in highly sexual suggestive manner. Now, line 67, you guys. Don't forget Christian Keys said the same thing. He was drinking at someone's house. He didn't say Tyler Perry's house, but he was drinking at someone's house, and then all of a sudden he felt somebody touch him. Remember? He said the guy climbed in bed with him, and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing in this bed?" Listen, I would have called an Uber or something. I wouldn't just be chilling there. All right. Line 68. At this point, Dixon's stomach started to turn and he began feeling nauseous. Instinctively, Dixon jumped out of the bed and told Tyler Perry that he wasn't that sexual. Tyler Perry ignored the comments and told Dixon to turn around so Perry could see him naked in his underwear. Perry then commented on how beautiful Dixon's body was. Dixon once again told Perry that he was not into sex. Dixon kept informing Perry that he was not into sex in order to keep Perry at bay, while at the same time not insulting the person who was dangling his career in front of him. This text message over on the right: I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past that block in your mind soon. And then Dixon replies back, well, it's not this person, but yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping. See, and again, with the text messages, you guys, it sounds like he has been sharing that he's been going to therapy and he's been working through something, right? And it seemed like Tyler Perry is being a friend trying to help him through it. But I haven't seen anything yet that says like, oh, yeah, I want you, in my bed. Or it's something with that therapy. And then there's something where Tyler Perry is trying to work with him or work through something. Oh, you think he's being groomed? Oh, wow. No videos, as I understand. Parts. Yeah, no videos. All right, let's continue. Line 70. In response to Dixon's frequent assertion that Dixon was not into sex, Perry started prying further. Perry would send Dixon a text message saying, I would hope, okay, no, all that. We read all that. 71. After the assault in January, Dixon felt betrayed. Perry continued to call or text Dixon every day asking to talk to him more. Dixon ignored Perry, which led Perry to text him, Derek, why don't you text me more? Line 72. The more Dixon ignored Perry, the more aggressive Perry became until finally Perry offered Dixon a part in a news show called The Oval. Line 73. Dixon was intrigued and was hoping that this would be the big break that he was looking for and a chance for him to display his acting talent. On February 11, 2020, Perry told Dixon to quit his job at Legendary Events and come work exclusively for Perry. Perry was not able to control Dixon as long as Dixon had secondary income that was providing for his basic needs. So basically, he was all like, hey, you need to quit your job. But what they're stating in this lawsuit, that was a way for him to, get him in his grasp. Like, okay, now you're going to be dependent on me, and now I can do whatever, and you'll have to give in to me. That's what they're setting up here. Again, in the lawsuit. Again, this is all allegedly, All right, continue. Once Dixon quit his job due to his role on the Oval, Perry started getting more and more personal with Dixon, knowing that Dixon was now under his control. But I want to say something. If you're an actor in a big TV show, more than likely you're not going to work a regular job. If you're committed to the show and depending on, how often it films, you're going to be too busy to work a job. So I don't know about that quitting. Like, essentially you would have to quit if you become a regular on the show. You know what I mean? Line 76. Perry would often say things like, I give and I give and I give, and no one ever does anything for me in return. No one ever gives me what I want or what I need, implying that Dixon was not giving him sex. But line 76, he didn't say. See how they don't have a text example for that? A lot of the things I'm seeing are implied, but there's not like a text message for that where that could simply mean like he gives so much to people, like he gives them job opportunities. But that doesn't mean necessarily he's talking about sex. You guys see what I'm saying? Something's missing in there. I still feel something is missing. All right, line 77. Perry started asking Dixon and Dixon's sexual preferences and what role Dixon took on engaging when engaging in sexual acts, i.e., whether he was a top or a bottom, which in sexual terms means whether Dixon preferred to give or receive anal sex. Perry further indicated to Dixon that he had sex with men before and that he was a top. Perry further told Dixon that when you have a big dick, oh Lord, trigger warning, when you have a big dick and when you hit that G spot right and these bottoms, what? Medea! Come on now, Medea. What? Nene, listen, Nene, I was looking like, what? Tyler, Medea, Lord. Medea does give me energy, not Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry gives me bottom, but Medea gives me power top. It says Perry further indicated to Dixon that he had sex with men before and that he was a top. Perry further told Dixon that when you have a big dick and when you hit that G spot right on these bottoms, they go crazy. Yo. But I noticed something. It doesn't talk about what was Dixon's response. Is Dixon gay? See, that's why I love Purely Plus. She gets it. Okay, let's go ahead and ask the question, you guys. Okay. Would you consider Medea a top or a bottom? Yeah, Medea is definitely a top. And thank you, Parts. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. I don't think anybody cashed at me or anything like that. But I always thank you if you did. Thank you, Parts. That was our first super sticker. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and continue. This is wild, you guys. Okay, line 79. Perry further told plaintiff that he wanted a man who was in a relationship with another individual, but with whom he could be emotionally involved and engaged in sexual acts with, like a friend with benefits relationship. So basically a DL situation, like you got somebody else, but we still F on the side. Because Perry did not have time to deal with emotional aspect of a relationship, only the physical. He wanted a DL relationship. That's basically what he's saying. All right, line 80. Despite these comments, Dixon knew that a now, did they have to use that word? Full-throated refusal would land him in the doghouse and might result in his role being cut on the Oval. Fearing that his career would end before it began, Dixon put up with the comments and continued to maintain that he was not the sexual type. On or around March of 2020, Dixon received the script for The Oval. He was written in as a season regular and was therefore expected to quit his job with Legendary Events. See what I said? It only makes sense that he would quit his job if you're a season regular. Line 82. Dixon's character was written as a gay, homeless, and desperate store clerk who had to sleep with one of the other characters for a place to stay. More importantly, at the end of the season, his character would be shot 4 times in the chest. Dixon felt that this was a way for Perry to test Dixon out for a year and see if he would be loyal to Perry. Wow. A gay, homeless, desperate store clerk. Wow. That is crazy. What's up, Childish Bambino? That's what he wrote him to be. Almost like Tyler Perry was living out his fantasy of Dixon. That's what it seemed like, at least, right? All right, line 83. When Dixon asked Perry about the shooting, Perry indicated that if Dixon did a good job, Dixon would be back, and that the shooting didn't necessarily mean that Dixon's character was out of the script for future seasons. Perry commented that Dixon's character was only shot in the chest, not in the head. Dixon immediately understood that his job security depended on his relationship with Perry. From this point on, Dixon worked with the constant fear of losing his job if he did not engage with and endure Perry's sexual harassment. Shortly after giving Dixon this news, and after telling Dixon that the future seasons were dependent on Dixon doing a good job, Tyler Perry invited Dixon to his home in Atlanta. Line 86. Plaintiff asked questions and tried to wiggle his way out of the invitation because he remembered what happened the last time that they were alone. However, plaintiff knew that his job security, income, and livelihood depended on his attendance. Now, I always want to, not judge the victim. But if you know that he has already came on to you and stuff like that, where is the no? Where is the no? Like, hey, I'm not down with this. Like, no, thank you. And I will also say this. Let me show me on the screen. Because when you look at the Diddy case, right? And this is going to be a separate conversation, but those girls, whether forced, coerced, and everything like that, it was almost all like, okay, well, this is how I'm going to feed myself, so I have to do it. And it's all like, where is that? No, I'm not doing this. Like, where is this? Screw this. F this. I would not go back to it, because even when Christian Keys was doing his crying on camera and all that stuff, he was saying that this individual, he didn't name Tyler, but he said this individual, he kept having to work with him and he kept going to his house and he kept going to events where this person was. And I'm all like, okay, if you know this person is going to be there, why do you keep going back to this person? Y'all gonna say I'm victim shaming, so let me go ahead and move on. All right, line 87. Plaintiff had seen other employees of Perry's who had experienced sudden deaths on the show when they fell on Perry's bad side. Oh, so basically, if you fall on his bad side, he kills you off. That's what they're saying. Okay, line 88. See, they should have gave examples of actors who had been killed off on his shows, and then we can look up whether or not they have a relationship with Perry or not. They should have gave examples. All right, line 88. In fact, Perry had made it clear to Dixon that he would often kill characters in order to get an actor to be loyal or obedient. Line 89. When Dixon arrived at the house, Tyler Perry gave Dixon a warm welcome and was very friendly. Soon after, Tyler Perry started asking Dixon a slew of sexually charged questions, even asking if Dixon liked it rough in bed. Perry then physically reached out and violently grabbed Dixon's throat, attempting to physically choke Dixon, and remarked, "Wow, look how excited you just got. You do like that." Mm. And I want to say something too. It doesn't matter if Dixon is straight or gay or whatever he is. The fact that your boss is using coercion and trying to get you to do things and make sexual advances at you is the crime. So I just want to make that clear, you know. But again, we don't have Tyler Perry's side, so we don't know exactly what went down. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was a relationship that went awry. Like, once everything stopped, now I'm going to sue you. That's why I feel like there's context missing from this. I feel like there's more to this story. But why now? Why is he coming out with this stuff now? Good question. Good question. He's a predator, period. Allegedly a predator. Yes, I agree with you, AT2. Exactly, AT2, one-sided story. Okay, we got a little mixed reaction. And trust me, I don't mind if you guys disagree with me or not. I'm open for discussion, you know, but I'm just saying, for me, I think there's a little context missing. Whether this is true or not, in a way, Tyler Perry shouldn't be having these conversations with his subordinates, his employees. You know, that's one thing. But I don't know if this is completely one-sided or this was a relationship gone awry. All right, line 91. Dixon was horrified, shocked, and in a panic. Dixon never thought that Tyler Perry could get so violent and would place his hands on Dixon's throat in a sexually aggressive manner. Dixon did not enjoy or consent to any of this conduct. Dixon was in shock and took steps to immediately de-escalate the situation. Due to the onset of COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, filming for the Oval was postponed indefinitely. During the period in which filming for the Oval was postponed, Tyler Perry would make FaceTime calls and other contacts to Dixon almost every day, treating Dixon as his on-call pet. And here's the thing, too. I want to say this. What's up, Queen Studio? This is what makes me think, like, Tyler Perry is trying so hard for this one. Just this one, he's trying this hard. When Tyler Perry could literally have anybody. That's why it's not connecting to me. But again, I don't know. Just to be fair, I don't know. Because allegedly around this time, he was doing Christian Keys too. Remember? He was pressing up on... So I'm all like, why is he pressing up on all the people who don't want him when he can go for the people who do want him? But I think secretly... Oh, Jesus, this is going to open up a conversation. And then I'm going to go in hiding after I say this. But I do feel for a lot of gay men, I feel like they do want to be attracted to straight men, and not that they just want a straight man. They're more attracted to masculinity, where if they get with another gay man, it's more full controversial, but it's more effeminate. So they want the masculine, and so that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to the masculinity and not the feminine. But I'm gonna go and hide and continue with the lawsuit because I know some of y'all gonna be mad that I said that. All right, continuing. Dixon felt obligated to answer for fear of losing his role, income, and career. Perry often asked about Dixon about his whereabouts, often demanding that Dixon respond immediately. When he didn't, Perry would send text messages to Dixon stating, "Derek, grrr." What? Oh my God. What are you doing? Exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, line 95. Additionally, Perry was jealous of anyone who Dixon had a relationship with. Tyler Perry told Dixon that if Dixon got COVID-19 from his roommate at the time, Dixon would not be able to shoot the Oval. Perry encouraged Dixon to move into one of his on-set studio houses owned by Perry, where Perry would have more control over Dixon's whereabouts. Now, this is kind of where I defend Tyler. Damn, this is gonna seem like I'm defending Tyler Perry. Remember I know in Los Angeles they had shut down production, right? They shut down production. I think what it is that during that time, actors, when they would do their movies and stuff like that, they had to be in a certain they had to be in the bubble. Perfect example. Remember the NBA? For the NBA, they had to do like the bubble where they couldn't leave, they couldn't go out, only for emergencies and stuff like that. They were doing that for actors too, where they had to be in a quote unquote bubble and they couldn't leave. So I think he's telling the truth. He's partially telling the truth. I think it's about 50-50. But y'all remember that time period, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that time period where all the actors and stuff had NFL. Yeah, they all had to be in the bubble. Yep. They all had to be in the bubble. Oh, and by the way, I know we're talking about a sensitive subject and stuff like that. I just want to clarify something. Like, I'm not hating anybody. There's no hate here. So don't put any ignorant shit in my comments or you will get cussed out. So I just want to be clear of that. I'm just giving my opinion. All right, continue. What's up, Bama girl? Yeah, but everybody was in the bubble at that time. Remember, if you were an actor or whatnot. All right, additionally, okay. Line 96. Thereafter, Perry would text plaintiff about other actors on his show, Ruthless. Perry told Dixon how he manipulated employees through ruthless retaliation. Perry told Dixon that if he did not like the way an actor behaved or the way the actor was acting, the character would simply die in season 2. Damn. Line 98. Dixon understood that Perry was informing Dixon to be cautious about disappointing or upsetting Perry. As a result, Dixon continued to put up with Perry's suggestive messages and sexual advances while doing his best to protect himself by taking notes and amassing evidence of the sexual harassment and keeping old text messages. Line 99. In one conversation in or around April of 2020, Perry told Dixon that Perry imagined Dixon prancing around in a cowboy outfit and that Perry did things to Dixon and that he couldn't talk with Dixon about any further because they were so wrong. Line 100. In or around April of 2020, and while Dixon was living in the studio homes on set, Perry often coerced Dixon to drink alcohol and then get on the phone with Perry. Perry would frequently have someone drop off alcohol at Dixon's door. Perry would eventually turn these phone calls into sexually explicit rants. Perry would get frustrated with Dixon and tell Dixon that he was not giving Perry what he needs. Dixon's refusal to succumb to Perry's sexual advances caused Perry to be ever more frustrated. Eventually, Perry warned Dixon, and if Dixon told his castmates about harassment, Dixon would be opening himself up to lots of questions and foolishness, and demanded that Dixon not discuss any of their conversations with his castmates. Ay, ay, ay. 102. Perry upped the stakes by telling Dixon point blank that he was not to tell anyone about their friendship. Perry told Dixon that it should all remain a secret, and tried to make it seem like this is a secret was for Dixon's benefit. Ooh, these text messages are really small. I can't really read these, you guys. But it probably listed in. Oh yeah, it says it in the lawsuit. Good. Perry continued to sexually harass Dixon. On June 27, 2020, defendant Perry texted Dixon that all he wanted for his birthday were biscuits and BJs. What? Referring to blowjobs and oral sex, but that all Perry ever received were biscuits, insinuating a request for oral sex from Dixon. That's a little strange. This text was followed by other messages calling Dixon cute, cutie, and that Perry was just thinking about Dixon. Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah, I can barely see this. I hope you got it. From what I can see in this text message, you guys, I don't see him saying anything about like you're a cutie or yeah, the biscuits or whatever, the biscuits and BJ's, that's not in here in that text message that they showed on top. So again, they might have wanted to show a little proof of that. 104. Despite these advances, Dixon continued to act professionally and continued to tell Perry he was not sexual. That seemed to be the only way of keeping Perry at bay while keeping his job. In July of 2020, Perry remarked about how much he loved the script of Dixon's television series called Losing It, and exclaimed that he wanted to shoot the pilot for it, pilot in quotations. Perry would never really work toward the goal, and what Perry was really doing was making Dixon more dependent on Perry, so that Perry could later extract sexual favors from Dixon as quid pro quo to produce the pilot. Now, if you look at Derek's IMDb, it says Joy Ridge in production. So Derek has some kind of show in production right now, right? But that Losing It, it says it was in 2023. And it said TV series as Derek Alexander Dixon. Let me take this down real quick. Hold on. I'm going to take this down so I can show you guys. And then I'll go back to it. There we go. All right. So here we go right here, you guys. So you see it says Joy Ridge, that's in production. Then The Oval that he worked on, Tyler Perry, 85 episodes. Then you see Losing It, 2023 right here. So it seemed that something was filmed. At least the pilot was filmed, you know. Oh, hold on. Let me blow it up for you. I'm sorry. I forgot this is small. Yeah. So you see right there, at least like a pilot or something was filmed. Something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened. It seemed like something was in the works. All right. Let me take that down. And then let's bring up the lawsuit. And please hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for being here and support. The crying white lady victim. All right, here we go. Let me see. Okay, let me go ahead and highlight this, make it bigger. All right, let's continue. In or around August 2020, Dixon and his castmates began shooting for the Oval after delays due to COVID-19 pandemic, during which time all castmates and crew lived on the studio set in a quarantine bubble. See, line 106, I told you guys. They all had to live in the bubble. It wasn't just him. They all had to live in it. So that contradicts that he just wanted Dixon to himself All of them had to live in the bubble. And remember, you had to get tested every day to make sure that you didn't have it. All right. Line 107. Shortly after Perry confided in Dixon that the two cast members were pissing him off and that Perry swore that he knew how to fix this shit. Oh, that's the text message about he loves to kill people off on his show. How to fix this shit. Perry added that he loves killing a motherfucker in the show that no one expects. That he was going to shoot them all. Going to shoot them all shot and kill them mofos characters, referring to killing off characters in the Oval played by actors who Perry wanted to retaliate against. Line 108. More importantly, Perry stated in one text message, "I may need to shoot the shoot out early," which Dixon understood to mean that unless the actors knew they were going to die, that their time on the show was over, they wouldn't change their ways. Perry was going to film the shoot out early so that the actors would be more submissive to Perry's request. Wow. Line 109. Perry intentionally made these comments to instill fear in Dixon. Mr. Dixon now knew that he too would lose his job if Dixon did not play ball with Perry's sexual harassment. This is what Perry had been setting up. Dixon was now fully reliant on Perry for his income, hope, and future aspirations. Perry made it clear that Dixon was not to disclose the relationship to anyone else, and Dixon was aware that Tyler Perry would kill him off the show for good, thereby ending his career. If Dixon got on Perry's bad side, to top it all off, Dixon already knew that his character was shot 4 times at the end of the seasons, but that the shots might not be fatal. In July of 2020, Perry read the script of Dixon's pilot and told Dixon that he loved the show so much he wanted to shoot the pilot for it. Dixon did not know that Perry never intended shooting the show. Perry knew that he could use the motivation of the shooting Mr. Dixon's show to get Dixon to, there's a lot of Dixons in here, sorry, to get Dixon to do what Dixon had been resisting for many months, which was to give Perry the sexual gratification Perry so craved. Line 111. Once the stage was set, Perry knew he could get away with sexual harassment. During the filming of The Oval in 2020, Perry engaged in severe and pervasive tirade of sexual commentary, including, but not limited to, that Dixon liked being choked, and that was Dixon's being choked by a cast member in one scene on The Oval. So I guess Dixon was choked on The Oval. Why do you twist your hips when you walk? Damn. Why do you twist your hips when you walk? How can I get a day of Dixon? When will you be thick again? Oh, here we go with Thick Derek. When will you be thick again? I love how I feel now that wait, hold on. I love how I feel right now, but I don't like being horny. I feel sorry for the first person who flirts with me. I've been trying to put that energy somewhere else, but everything is sexual on this stuff. This explains why Tyler Perry's, movies and TV shows are so sexual, because he's just a horny billionaire freak, right? That snake across the table made me think of a photo of Nicki Minaj from the music video for her song Anaconda, in which she refers intercourse with male genitalia symbolized by a snake. I will gladly choke I think they meant choke you right now, referring to Perry's desire to choke Dixon in a sexual way. A suggestion that Dixon should get braces behind his teeth, but the plaintiff would have to give up BJ. Wait, hold on. A suggestion that Dixon should get braces behind his teeth, but that the plaintiff would have to give up BJ's and that it could be dangerous for Dixon's partners, especially if they're not circumcised. What? Tyler. If this is true, again, if it's true, that's when you were thick, Derek. Fun Derek, a drunk Derek, before COVID Derek. I miss him just without a butt. And thick Derek, not this thick Derek shit again. Oh, I'm skipping that. Harry also photographed Dixon's buttocks while on set and sending pictures to Dixon. 2 text messages of the mini show. What? But see, they don't have a screen grab of him sending Dixon the buttocks or his ass. So why is that missing from here? 113. This series of comments and other unwanted sexual references made Dixon highly uncomfortable. Dixon was caught in a bind. He could not complain to anyone in HR. He had nowhere to turn for relief from sexual harassment, and he knew that if he did not endure it, he would be killed off from the Oval. Dixon was unsure whether to joke back or rebuff Perry's sexual harassment. So he endured it, knowing that his job was on the line if he did not engage. All right, so how are we feeling? So far, do you think Perry is guilty or not guilty? This is a civil case, but do you think Perry is guilty or not guilty so far? Yes or no? I'm undecided right now. I'll say that I'm undecided. Guilty. Yes. Dang. Guilty. Woo! Not guilty. Let me clarify something for you guys. So with me, I'm thinking that this was a consensual relationship that turned awry. That I'm still going with that. All right, but let's continue. Perry also shared intimate details of his own sex life with Dixon. Among other things, Perry would tell Dixon that he had not had good sex since he okay, I think I read that before. Yeah, since he was rich. When he said he didn't go to the supermarket and all that, I read that. On the second to the last day of shooting for the Oval, Dixon filmed the episode where his character was shot 4 times, indicating the cement end to his role on the show and his termination from the job. Line 116, it was precisely following this day of filming when Tyler Perry knew that Dixon's character fate was to be decided that Perry invited Dixon to his trailer for drinks. Dixon knew that refusing meant the end of his career, so he accepted. Line 117, it was there on the very same day that Perry dialed up the harassment to a new level. Tyler Perry asked Derek Dixon point blank, "Are you attracted to me?" and demanded that Dixon answer. Plaintiff reiterated the same way he did after the first assault by skirting the question. Dixon told Perry that Dixon wasn't the sexual or looking for anything. Perry's incessant probing did not stop. Perry continued to talk about how good looking and sexy Dixon was, and that the plaintiff was wasting his looks by not being free and having sex. Line 118, Dixon repeatedly deflected these comments with neutral answers, consistently looking for ways to avoid Tyler Perry's sexual interrogation while continuing to worry about his future on the Oval. Mr. Perry was testing how far he could go with Dixon. 119, after enduring the harassment and doing his best to dodge the situation, Mr. Dixon got up and the two exchanged goodbyes. As Dixon was leaving Perry's trailer, Perry got up and pinned Dixon against the wall. Perry began aggressively groping Dixon's buttocks in a sexual motion. Tyler Perry began reaching down towards Dixon's buttocks and groped Dixon's butt in a strong sexual manner that could not have been a mere accident. Dixon stood frozen in horror and could not reciprocate or fight back. All Dixon could do was let his body go cold and limp. Seeing that Dixon had no desire in Perry, Perry told Dixon that he was drunk and asked Dixon to leave the trailer. Yeah. Now, Perry, that part don't look good at all. If this is true, that's not good. Okay, 120. As soon as Derek Dixon left the trailer following Perry's violent assault, Dixon became severely nauseous and extremely anxious about his job, career, and livelihood. Dixon felt trapped within the confines of the studio quarantine bubble. There was still another shoot the next day. Dixon called his friend Justin Bryant on the phone and told him everything that happened and was unaware of any human resources representatives to whom he could report the assault. Plaintiff had no one to turn to and nowhere to go to save him from Perry's aggressive sexual harassment and exploitation. 121. The next day, Perry acted like nothing happened, and this time he did not even offer Mr. Dixon any apology. Following this exchange, Dixon began to avoid Perry as much as possible. However, Dixon still felt the need to answer Perry's incessant text messages, so much he changed his approach. Dixon often pretended to be asleep to avoid being harassed by Perry. However, Perry persisted by texting Dixon the following messages. Are you awake? Stop ignoring me. You are awake, Derek. Wake up. I know you're not sleeping. And give me attention. In or around early October 2020, Perry invited Dixon and other actors from the Oval on a cash trip to Perry's personal island in the Bahamas. Dixon knew, as did everyone else on the show, that declining to go on this trip might cause Perry to erase you from the show. Dixon agreed to go, knowing that the whole cast was going to be there. Again, I asked, don't put yourself in these vulnerable situations. One night while in Perry's private island in the Bahamas, the cast was having a party. At the end of the night, Perry told Dixon that he wanted to talk to him. Dixon was caught off guard. Perry made alcoholic drinks and forced Dixon to drink with him. Dixon knew that he could not refuse the drinks, otherwise he would risk upsetting Mr. Perry. Instead, Dixon tried to stay in control and sip drinks slowly. I haven't seen anything about any kind of drugging or anything like that, so I don't think any drugs are involved, just to let you guys know. Tyler Perry did not control himself. He drank until it was clear that the alcohol had made him bold and sexually aggressive. Perry told Dixon that he wanted a relationship with someone who could be emotionally and sexually available to him, but would also be permissive of Perry having his own relationship with someone else. Perry said he could see himself having that type of relationship with Dixon. Perry insisted that Dixon needed to be with someone rich because Dixon liked nice things. Perry told Dixon that he was watching all the cast as they laid out in the sun with tanning oil. Perry continued raving about how seeing Dixon grease like that, grease like that, was driving him crazy. Tyler Perry said he would have burnt the whole island down if one of the other actors or anyone else from the group had touched Dixon that night. Wow, so Tyler Perry was very jealous. He's the jealous type. At that point, he once again aggressively seized Dixon and groped his buttocks. Dixon once again did not reciprocate and froze up. Perry got the message and told Dixon to go to bed. Dixon was terrified and could barely sleep. Line 127. From that moment on, Perry became extremely frustrated and possessive. Perry wanted desperately for Dixon to be attracted to him, but Dixon was not. And oh, let me read the text. So this is the text message from Tyler Perry. He sent him a picture, right? And then he goes, "Nice picture. Yeah, the water does look calm." And then Tyler Perry responded, "Nice picture." And then Dixon said, "Great, amazing, awesome picture." And then Tyler Perry replied, "You don't see that stud in that nice picture? Rude." And then Dixon goes, "Laugh out loud. Yes, that's a stud." And then Tyler Perry replies back, "Asshole." Oh, and that's line 128 that I just read. Okay. Line 129. On or around October 18, 2020, and the following Dixon's return from the Bahamas, Perry told Dixon that he was jealous and that Dixon was giving too much attention to other men. Perry stated that Dixon was being too much of a social butterfly and that he would need Dixon to sit still this week. Further, attempting to exercise his influence over Dixon's interactions with other men. Perry continued to wield his position as Dixon's boss, demanding sexual attention in exchange for his continued employment. Notice how in here, right? It never confirms Dixon's sexual orientation. And the reason why I bring that up is because I'm still going back to what I'm saying. I think him and Tyler shared a mutual understanding or a mutual situationship. And because it went awry and he didn't get what he wanted, now he's suing. That's how I feel, you guys. All right, let's continue. These text messages were followed by others to Dixon, like, "Derek, don't you dare ignore me. I deserve better. I deserve attention all the time." What is wrong with Tyler Perry? This is the text message over on the right. It says, "You know what I cook, Derek? Spaghetti, cake, you. I'm so drunk talking shit." All right, yeah, that's a little sexually suggestive. Yeah, I will say that. And that says April 27, 2021. I'm going to line 132. In December of 2020, Dixon began feeling depleted. Due to Perry's continued pattern of sexual harassment, the assault and harassment began manifesting in this physical health, and Mr. Dixon had no one to turn to. Dixon visited a physician who indicated that Dixon exhibited severe symptoms of acute stress, insomnia, stomach issues, and dangerously low cortisol levels due to sexual harassment and assault. The physician prescribed Zoloft, an antidepressant, for Dixon's ailments. The sexual harassment continued through the beginning of 2021. Perry continued sending Dixon unsolicited photos of Dixon's body from the set of the Oval with comments such as, oh my God, look at think. Oh, I think he meant thick Derek. No, the weight difference. I can do see it. Thick Derek. Okay, good. Nope, I can't deal with thick Derek. What's it going to take for you to oh, the guiltless sex. Okay. Your ways. Okay, a whole bunch of freaky shit that he was taking. I'm not reading all this. I'm already traumatized by the thick Derek stuff. Okay, let me see. Thick Derek, get to Chipotle. No, I can't. Only from your jeans. Derek is there to make men swoon. What I mean by that is that you're so beautiful. When you finally are able to unlock your mind, you're going to make that person crazy. Crazy in a good way. Dixon responded, "As long as my face doesn't get messed up, as long as it doesn't leave a mark." And Tyler Perry responded, "What will leave a mark, Derek? Say it. On your neck? What do you mean? You haven't? Have you been intimate with someone? I can't wait to get that phone call from you when you tell me let go and you loved every minute of it." See, it seems like they, according to this, it seemed like they did hook up. Because why would you respond that way? Um, I'm going to Q. So it says, no straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to fuck you. I would fuck you. What? Ay, ay, ay. Now I'm reading R. R says, what are you doing hanging out with that girlfriend of yours? She wants you too. Everyone wants to fuck Jacob, referring to Dixon's character in the pilot of Losing It. Okay, see, this is the character's name in the pilot of that pilot, the Losing It show. Wow. And it seemed like he's saying the girlfriend, like, oh, your little girlfriend. Not that his that. All right, Tyler Perry might be guilty, y'all. He might be guilty. Y'all, this is crazy. Okay, line 34. After several weeks of unreciprocated sexual innuendos and demands for attention, Perry lashed out at Dixon on set and asked if he needed to punch Dixon in the stomach for Dixon to act the way Perry envisioned in a scene. This exchange was highly tense, and Perry's reaction stunned several cast members. Actors on set consoled Dixon for the abrasive interaction, confused as to why Perry overreacted in such a manner. But Dixon knew that Perry was lashing out due to his frustration at the lack of attention Dixon was giving him. On or around June 4th, 2021, Perry invited Dixon to his house to spend some time together in discussing the pilot of Losing It. Although Dixon hesitated, he feared the consequences of disappointing Perry and believed once Losing It was a big show, he would be freed from under the clutches of Perry. During this visit, Perry made several alcoholic beverages for himself and demanded to know why Dixon was not having sex with anyone. Perry probed further about Dixon's sex life, insisting that the two were becoming increasingly drunk and it was time to end the night. Perry then led Dixon to the guest room. So this is the third time going to his home, you guys. The guest house where the guest bedroom was. Dixon would be staying there the night. Inside the guest bedroom, Perry motioned to Dixon to come see a weight monitor that he had. Perry told Dixon that for the monitor to work, Dixon would need to step on the monitor wearing only his underwear and push Dixon to try it out. Dixon tried to avoid the uncomfortable situation, but decided it was better to comply and hurry to bed than to wait for the alternative at that point. 138. After weighing himself, Dixon walked toward the guest bedroom, followed by Perry, who then asked Dixon for a good night hug. Rather than arguing, Dixon complied, at which point Perry reached out and yanked Dixon's underwear down from behind. Perry then began vigorously grab, grope, and play with Dixon's buttocks in a sexual manner. Dixon was naked, stunned, seized by tremendous fear. Dixon started to tell Perry that he did not want his underwear down, that Dixon didn't want to be naked, and that Dixon didn't want this. Dixon quickly reached to pull his underwear back up. As soon as he did, Perry grabbed Dixon's reaching arm with a tight grip and held fast. Tyler Perry told Derek Dixon to relax and to just let it happen, and that Perry wasn't going to hurt Dixon. Perry continued sexually grope Dixon's buttocks. Dixon's anxiety rapidly escalated, thinking that might soon be raped. Sorry, trigger word. I'm sorry, you guys. I should have told you that. Dixon was not sure what to do, and his breath shortened. Perry ignored Dixon's refusal and held Dixon's hand fast, preventing him from reaching for his underwear. Dixon was naked and being groped by a large, drunk, and sexually frustrated 6'5" man who had Dixon in his clutches. Dixon did not know if he was going to have to get into a physical fight, but he knew that any efforts to fight back were hopeless. Perry had armed security at his gate, which was much larger than Dixon, and told Dixon that he had several guns in his home. Dixon was desperate for a way out and remarked that he couldn't do anything sexually because he was so hungry, attempting to change the conversation. Dixon asked, "Is there any food up here?" which prompted Perry to withdraw and order pizza. Dixon, in fear of his safety, followed Perry into the main house to eat pizza. Afterwards, Dixon returned to the guest bedroom and, unable to lock the bedroom door, locked himself in the guest house bathroom and slept on the floor. Dixon then attempted to contact some close friends about the incident. I wonder, is he going to try to get the close friends to testify too? The following morning, Dixon realized that he had left his car keys in the main house and upon going to retrieve them, encountered Perry. Perry told Dixon that last night's incident was why the two shouldn't drink together and that the previous night's incident shouldn't have happened. Dixon responded saying, "Oh, so that was my fault?" To which Perry replied, "No, no, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you shouldn't have happened and I drank too much." Attempting to excuse himself from grabbing Dixon's buttocks, groping Dixon, and attempting to have sex with Dixon against his will. At this point, Dixon left Perry's home, uncontrollably shaken, and contacted his close friends to discuss the unspeakable horror from that night before. For the next several days until June 6, 2021, Perry texted and called Dixon incessantly, which messages asking Dixon to call him or answer his calls. Finally, Dixon answered, at which point Perry began to apologize, blaming the testosterone supplements he was taking. Now, how are you going to blame it on testosterone for you being a freak? What? Is he serious, y'all? I would love to interview Christian Keys, but allegedly he was paid off. And every time somebody asks him about this situation, he doesn't say anything. Or he pretends like nothing ever happened. All right. Perry further attempted to rectify his misconduct by inviting Dixon on a yacht trip and telling Dixon that Perry was for sure going to make Dixon pilot. Dixon realized that Perry was offering to make losing it to effectively silence Dixon. Perry sent a text message trying to arrange for Dixon to come on his yacht with another person so that Dixon would feel more comfortable. Dixon responded that he would not board the yacht and refused Perry's invitation. After Dixon refused to go on the yacht, Perry did not text Dixon for 5 months. Sensing that Dixon was upset, Perry called Dixon once to update him that Perry was looking for a director for the pilot. During the 5-month period, Dixon was regularly in therapy. He suffered from severe depression, anxiety, stomach pains. And I wonder, did he tell his therapist about this? If he did, then that makes a lot of sense. Recommended to seek outpatient treatment costing upwards to $20,000, a price too high for Dixon at the time. Oh, wow. During that time, Dixon began speaking with people about the sexual assault and was assessing his rights. As soon as Perry realized that Dixon was done talking to him, Dixon got a message from Perry's fixers. Oh, here we go, you guys. Here we go. Perry's fixers contacted Dixon, indicating Dixon's character in the Oval, the one who was shot, would be returning with a new storyline next season, and Dixon was receiving a graduated raise from $10,000 per episode to $16,000 per episode, and would continue to increase to upwards to $19,000 per episode over the coming seasons. The attorney said that Christmas came early for Dixon because he was doing a good job on the Oval. However, they also told Dixon he was forbidden from letting his castmates know about the raise because nobody other than him would be receiving a similar pay increase. Wow. Damn. Tyler Perry. I thought Tyler Perry was giving. I didn't know he was so cheap. So he was going to let them. Well, this was allegedly his boy toy, so I get why he paid him more. Lastly, the fixers told Dixon that now the way they're using fixers, you guys, fixers, do you mean his lawyers? Because yeah, his lawyers are going to talk about a contract with you. The lawyers are going to talk about a contract with you. So are they fixers or are they lawyers? Okay. Line 155. Lastly, the fixers told Dixon that Perry wanted to buy the right to produce the pilot of Losing It and planned to spend up to $1 million producing the pilot. Dixon immediately knew why he was getting the raise, why the pilot was being produced. He knew he could keep the money and the job or complain about the sexual harassment, but not both. The situation facing Dixon presented a challenging decision that left him unable to take any action or make any decision. The prospect of the sexual assault and harassment becoming public and dealing with Perry's highly paid attorneys was daunting. Perry had significant resources, whereas Dixon did not. Dixon's goal of working as an actor and being discovered for his talents might be jeopardized. In what was extremely difficult decision, Dixon bowed to pressure and fear of losing his livelihood in hopes of advancing his career. Dixon decided to return to set and have his pilot produced. He insisted, however, and decided to put safeguards in place between himself and Perry. Okay. In or around November 2021, Dixon returned to shoot the Oval. It was then when he saw Perry for the first time in person. Since the June 2021 sexual assault, Dixon suffered a panic attack in his trailer, prompting another actor to calm Dixon down. Seeing that Dixon was still upset, Perry knew that he had to up the ante to ensure Dixon's silence. Perry began periodically texting plaintiff regarding the production of the pilot of Losing It to string Dixon along. So see, they're setting it up like, oh, he started talking about he was going to produce his show to keep him quiet because he knew he could leverage that and use that over him. Soon after, Dixon received a call from a member of Perry's production team telling him that they were considering shooting Dixon's pilot in the coming fall of 2021. Dixon was desperate for this good news given uncertainty surrounding his finances and concerns about his future. On or around March 4th, 2022, Dixon signed the literary purchase agreement for the pilot, giving the rights for the series to Defendant TPS, Tyler Perry Production Studios, by the way. Dixon was unaware that TPS pre-existing television contracts with Viacom CBS, now known as Paramount Global, which would later prevent the sale of Dixon's show to any media outlets or streaming services for 2 years. Damn, so he got locked up in the whole Viacom Paramount Global situation. On or around March 21st, 2022, shortly after seeing each other on the set of the Oval, Dixon and Perry began shooting the pilot. Perry called Dixon following the shoot, telling him that the show would net $2 to $3 million per episode and run for 2 seasons guaranteed. Perry purchased the rights to Losing It, and Dixon but did not try to sell it to any network. In fact, Perry was under contract with Viacom CBS, preventing him from selling Dixon's show for additionally 2 years following the purchase. In other words, Perry spent money shooting a pilot for a show, then purchasing the rights to it, knowing Perry could not sell the show for 2 years. Clearly, this was done for the ulterior motive of silencing Dixon. Now, here's the thing. If Dixon sold the rights, that means he got paid for it, right? So you still got paid for it. And again, because of the contract, you couldn't he couldn't sell the show, but that doesn't mean that he would not sell the show. Oh shit, I skipped too far. Okay, line 167. While it was not surprising that one of Perry's characters would end up this way, the timing... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. On or around April 9th, 2022, to his surprise, plaintiff received the script for another season of The Oval, in which plaintiff's character, originally written as a grocery store clerk, would play a male prostitute, damn, being pursued by a pimp. This character scene story shared eerie similarities to Perry's pursuit of Dixon. Y'all, this kind of makes me want to watch the show The Oval. I kind of want to watch the show so I could see, like, okay, is he telling the truth? While it was not surprising that one of Perry's characters would end up this way, the timing of the change to Dixon was very clear. Was a very clear message. As Dixon continued to read through his script, he started to notice Perry included lines taken directly from things Perry and Dixon spoke about. Perry started to base the script on real life and made it personal. For example, Perry wrote about Dixon that I don't like none of my bitches running away. He was making good money for me. Ay, ay, ay. Tyler, come on now. In or around April 2020, before beginning to shoot the next season of The Oval, Perry called Dixon to discuss the June 2021 sexual assault. On the phone call, Perry lectured Dixon about how Dixon was overreacting to the sexual assault because of the prior sexual assault in Dixon's life. Oh, so he tried to victim shame it like, oh, well, you're already traumatized. Perry said that there was misunderstanding and miscommunication and that Dixon needed to say no stronger. In other words, Perry blamed Dixon for the sexual assault, claiming Perry felt that Dixon no was, oh, that's when he was talking about have you learned how to say no? Crazy. On or around October 28, 2022, after filming a full season of The Oval, Perry told Dixon that despite shooting the pilot, it could take a while to place, and that Perry couldn't do any other television series until his deal was up with Viacom, which would take about 2 years. In or around January 2023, plaintiff indicated that he was moving to Santa Monica. He did so to put distance between himself and Perry. Tyler Perry replied he was glad to hear that Dixon was moving away and asked if Dixon's no was stronger before he left. Perry reiterated that Dixon should have a strong no and make it clear when he said no. Line 172. This was Perry's way of once again referencing on his June 2021 sexual assault of Dixon, making it clear that Perry felt no remorse for assaulting Dixon against Dixon's will. Dixon remained calm considering these triggering comments because he needed Perry to help him with his dreams and producing a show because Dixon was still a regular actor on The Oval. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I'm going to go to line 176. Perry would call Dixon and say, you'll understand when you have a hit show. In the same breath, referred to the sexual assault by saying, I'm so glad we're past that. Dixon knew that he had to just hold his tongue because Perry was still employing Dixon. On or around October 2023, Tyler Perry finally contacted Dixon, indicating that he was going to be finished with his Paramount Global contract in January 2024, and that he would be able to start working on selling Losing It. Perry was just hoping that the statute of limitations would run on Dixon's sexual assault claims before closing the door on Dixon's hope of the quid pro quo that Perry offered for Dixon's silence. In the same conversation where they were talking about Perry starting to do things with Losing It, Tyler Perry also asked Dixon who he was having sex with. Perry further pushed for details, asking Dixon if he was a giver or receiver in this scenario, or if plaintiff used protection and prep when engaging in sexual. Wow. Perry continued to probe other intimate details about Dixon's sex life. Perry again told Dixon that Perry wants a partner with whom he could have. Okay, we already kind of got to that. Okay. In December 2023, here we go, you guys. In December 2023, Christian Keys, another actor who worked for Perry prior to Dixon's employment, posted a video on social media platforms detailing his abusive experience with an anonymous Black Hollywood billionaire, which Dixon pieced together and believes to be Tyler Perry. And then they posted the article from the Star. Dixon heard Mr. Key's account and saw that Perry had been engaging in sexual conducts as other actors. Just like the interactions described by Keys, Perry would get drunk, climb into Dixon's bed, and start fondling Dixon's buttocks. Dixon wanted to share his experience with the media to prevent other actors from being abused at the hands of Perry. Around the time, Perry called Dixon, indicating that he really wanted to find a home for Dixon's television series, again, perpetuating the quid pro quo after the sexual assault to keep Dixon and his claims at bay. Then in January 2024, Perry told Dixon to begin working on a pitch deck for investors for the pilot. Despite having 8 episodes written, Perry only produced 1, claiming that the president of his company, Michelle Sneed, conveniently misplaced the $1 million that were going to be used for the show. During this time, Perry further solicited Dixon's assistant with other films and projects that Tyler Perry was working on. Once again, Dixon was in a position where he could not say no. So even after all this, he's saying that he couldn't say no. I don't know why he didn't try for other acting jobs at the same time. In or around March 2024, Tyler Perry indicated to Derek Dixon that the individual who was meant to pitch the pilot became depressed and could no longer pitch the show. This was another excuse, the fact that Perry never liked the show and never intended to sell it. See, with him adding this part in here, it really seems like he's upset that his show, like, he was willing to deal with the bullshit, but now that you ain't going to produce his show, he like, okay, I got a problem. And I'm sorry, you guys, I have to say it like that, but that's what it seemed like to me. He like, oh, wait, I was willing to deal with all this bullshit, but you ain't going to put on my show? Oh, hell no. All right, let's continue. Dixon did not get angry and allow Perry more time to figure things out for the show. Mistakenly sensing that Dixon had forgiven him, Perry started back up with the harassment. Perry continued to harass Dixon, who was still working on the Oval, who was still waiting eagerly for Perry to sell Losing It. Perry would tell Dixon that he loved Dixon and that Dixon should be living his life and that Dixon should be having sex more. Perry even indicated he would send Dixon's show to Peter Friedlander at Netflix. But all this was just an attempt to remind Dixon of the sword of, what's that? Damocles hanging over his neck. Sword of Damocles? I've never heard that before. Am I saying that right, y'all? Later, Perry told Dixon that Netflix turned the show down. Dixon was never contacted by any individuals from Netflix regarding the show, and no sale ever materialized. In or around June of 2024, Perry, sensing that Dixon was getting frustrated about his show not getting off the ground and still concerned about sexual assault being made public, offered Dixon a position as a writer on Perry's show, indicating that he had a replacement to continue writing. But here's the thing. Tyler Perry couldn't start promoting or selling his show until 2 years later, right? He didn't start promoting the show until 2 years later because contractually he couldn't. And just because you make a show doesn't mean that. I was thinking debacles, but it doesn't say that, Tanya. It says, oh damn, where was the word, y'all? Maybe they misspelled debacles. Maybe that's what it was. But it was like Democl. Oh, here we go. Right here. Sword of Damocles. Damocles. I've never heard that. All right. In or around June 2024, Perry Simpson. Oh, okay, I read that already. Okay, let me see. He didn't report the sexual assault. Okay, line 191. Because defendant took no action to prevent further assault or harassment, Dixon had to quit his job working on the last season of The Oval. Dixon did so even though he was under contract to finish filming and stood to make close to $400,000. Dixon did not want to be sexually harassed or be placed in danger of sexual harassment again. Oh, wow. So he gave up $400K? Defendant then retaliated against Dixon. Defendant told Dixon that if he quit and told other actors why he quit, he would be in breach of contract. Defendants told Dixon that only way out was to portray his departure from the show as medical leave due to emotional distress caused by sexual harassment. The leave of absence was to be paid medical leave. Instead, defendant made the leave of absence unpaid, therefore terminated plaintiff's employment, causing Dixon additional loss of income and insult. Wow. Okay, and this just explains the quid pro quo and all that. All the legal jargon. Let me get to, and this lawsuit isn't by Tyrone Blackburn, by the way, you guys. I just want to let y'all know. Okay, that's the fourth action. Okay, let me skip that. Where is it? Prayer for relief. Plaintiff prays for judgment as follows: for special, general, and punitive and compensatory damages according to proof at trial, for reasonable attorney fees, expert witness fees, and other litigation expenses pursuant to law, for injunctive relief where the court deems appropriate, for all other relief the court deems appropriate and just, for a total amount of damage, including punitive damage, of $260 million. How do you even ask for that? Oh, Melissa, you're right. Christian, All the King's Men. Yeah, Christian got the show. But that was actually before that would have been before his employment, though, I believe, though, Melissa. But good catch. Oh, it's a Greek word. Okay. Got you. Thank you for that. But yeah, how do you ask for that much? And I can see why Tyler Perry didn't settle, because you always get a demand letter or whatnot to settle. I can see why he was like, get the fuck out of here with that. I ain't paying you 260. Like, how dare you ask for that much? Now, can you put a price tag on sexual harassment and stuff? No, you can't put a price tag on it. But 200, like, be effing for real. Be effing for real with that, And thank you, beautiful. Said the sword of Damocles is a story of from ancient Greek lore, famously retold by Roman philosopher Cicero. It illustrates the idea that the power of fortune come from significant risks and anxieties. Oh, thank you for that information. The more you know, right? Yep. Christian said he had recordings. I wondered, did this guy have any recordings? Now, it seemed because of the harassment, he just up and quit. But I wondered, I wonder what Tyler Perry's response is going to be. Is it going to be like, no, this guy quit because he was having so many mental issues? And remember, I take mental health very seriously, but mental health will be used against you. They're going to be like, oh, well, this guy's been a little off. Tyler Perry was just trying to help him out. Like, you see the way they're going to spin this against him? Right, Pretty Mimi. I know they start high, but damn, they don't start at 260 million high. Like, I feel like Right, Zinga, at least something like that, or like loss of wages or something, you know? I've never seen something that high before. And maybe I haven't seen that many lawsuits, but I haven't seen a lawsuit for like sexual harassment that high for just one person. Like, would you ever have made 260 million in your lifetime? Now, I don't care how good he think his show was going to be or if his show was good, but 260 million is a lot of fucking money. That's a lot, y'all. Crazy. Ooh, damn, we almost went 2 hours, y'all. You know I don't go longer than an hour, but it was a lot in that lawsuit. I kind of want to do a new video. I'm gonna do another video later, where we look at Christian Key's video and we kind of compare the stuff that he was saying versus what Christian was saying. Because there's a lot of similarities in here, you know, a lot of similarities. Yeah, but this is crazy, y'all. I don't know. Tyler. Again, my assumption, and this is just me, but I think they probably had a consensual relationship, and he's upset talking about Derek Dixon. He's upset that his show didn't get out there. He didn't become this big star. And now he's suing Tyler Perry because it seemed Tyler Perry offered him other jobs, but he just didn't promote his show. And quite frankly, maybe the show wasn't that good, and so they didn't want it. And again, with this being a white guy, maybe they're like, well, Tyler Perry, you only produce black films and TV shows. You don't produce any white shows. So that probably was another stigma on Tyler Perry. And this is probably also why he couldn't sell it. Because it was a white show. And Tyler Perry is known for everything black. So it's a lot to it, you know, and I hate to say it that way. You know, Shonda Rhimes, she can write any kind of show. You know, the Grey's Anatomy lady, she can write any kind of show. Tyler Perry, he just known for black. And so sometimes they typecast you and they don't see you any kind of other way. So that could have been something. I'm just throwing stuff out there, you guys. I don't know. It could be anything. But again, let me know in the chat what you guys feel. Please, replay crew, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to everybody. If there was any Cash App, PayPal, Venmos, I will message you guys later. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here, but we out. Deuces, everybody.